Hello, Jeff Jackson here, the Forage Fan Addict. So today's going to be one of those days. I'm going to have some lovers, I'm going to have some haters. Some people are going to be cheering, some guys are going to think I'm really an idiot. But here we go. Because I just looked at a post on social media again. I don't remember which site. But it was one of those questions. A guy was wanting to make cattle feed, and he asked the group, how much sorghum should I plant? Okay, so first of all, that's a very, very open-ended question because there are multiple types of sorghum out there. We have forage sorghum, which is a single-cut, high-volume system where we generally have that planted in wider rows. A lot of 30-inch, 22-inch, maybe some 15-inch forage sorghum that guys intend to chop. That's a little bit different than a sorghum sedan grass, which generally call a hay grazer, and we're going to take those things and we're either going to graze them, we're going to swath them to make hay, we might swath them to do baleage. Some guys might take multiple cuts of high quality, swath them to do chopped material to put in a pile. So it's all about what you need in your system. Is it going to be one big single cut, multiple cuts, graze and cut, cut and graze? So first of all, we need to start out with the right details. If you guys are going to ask those kind of questions, you need to say, hey, I want to chop silage this year. I want to take one big cutting. What variety might you suggest for the area that I live in, and what's the planting rate for that variety? Because they're not all created equal, and you can lump this all into one big sum. Some people will say, I plant 8 to 10 pounds. I think that's completely wrong. When you talk to the breeders and the guys that do research and the people that develop these varieties, and myself being a producer in the country here, I run a test plot every year on my own farm. I manage plot locations and get to see plot data from all over the U.S., primarily the western U.S., from the plains states further south. That's where most of this gets done or data is taken. But folks, based on the varieties, how we are efficient with seed, and don't spend more than you need to, because the first thing you're going to do is say, well, that variety or that bag is too expensive. In regards to what? How much are you planting? If you're planting 10 pounds, damn right it's going to be too expensive. If you take a variety and you plant 5 pounds, which with sorghum, it's generally about 15,000 seeds per pound. It can go up to 23,000. It can go down to probably 12, depending on what lot number you have for the year and how it was grown. But if you're going to do a single cut forage sorghum crop, I would tell you that somewhere between 60,000 and 100,000 is probably the right number. 100,000, so let's go with 75,000. 75,000 plant population works really good for a lot of varieties, is 5 pounds. 6 pounds is 90,000. 6 pounds is about where you want to be. 7 pounds is 105. There's not many people that are going to go over that. Again, all depending on the variety. Are you dry land? Are you irrigated? Are you doing 15s, 22s, 30-inch rows, 38-inch rows, 40-inch rows in the south? It all depends. Because think about this. If you do 10 pounds at 10 pounds at 15,000 seeds per pound, you have 150,000 seeds per acre. And if you're doing 30-inch rows, think about what your cornfield would look like in 30-inch rows planted at 150,000 plants per acre. The stems would almost touch each other. So now you have lots of stems, small diameter. Everybody complains about sorghum standability. You're setting your own self up for failure. So watch the plant population on single cut forage sorghums. Ask better questions. And I'm going to tell you, anybody that says 8 to 10 pounds or more in a single cut forage sorghum to get really tall and take one cut in rows like that, you need to question them a little bit. I'm telling you to plant less. And I'm a seed marketing person, right? Why would I do that if I didn't think it was the right thing to do for you on your acre? Okay, so that's one thing. Single cut forage sorghum, let's put that away. These hay grazers really get me jacked up. And you can tell I'm having one of those mornings where I'm like, yep, we're gonna pick some scabs. I'm gonna rip the damn Band-Aid off and pull as much hair as I can. Some of you are gonna be irritated, but I want you to think about and listen to what I'm gonna tell you. The post that I just read had comments from guys saying 40 pounds of seed, 50 pounds of seed. It takes a bag to the acre. 75 pounds of seed. I have seen 100 pounds of seed per acre by some people in the comments on that question in different posts in the past. Folks, the varieties that we have available in the sorghum industry today are not the same varieties. Not all of them. Let me get that right. We do have some of the same varieties from 1940 probably. And they are usually the bottom feeder, economy brand, cheapest conventional sorghum sedan grass, common old genetics. Everybody uses it because that thing will produce seed like crazy and they can sell it cheap, and it's just, that's what it is. There are new varieties out there that give you better fiber digestibility, better palatability, higher rates of gain, depending on how long you go between cuttings or grazing sequences. So realistically, I'm a marketing person, I'm a sorghum product manager. I suggest that most of our growers are going to be 30 pounds on the high end, probably about 20 pounds. Some of them might get down to 15 pounds on the lower side. And this is a sorghum by sedan grass or a Sudan. Fast regrowth, multiple harvests, those type of products. Everybody talks about having fine stems and palatability and fine stems and digestibility. I'm going to challenge you that you can take these plants, 25 to 30 pounds, get fantastic fiber digestibility, better efficiency out of your cattle. So that means either you don't have to feed quite as much because the feed's better, or they can digest it better, produce more pounds, produce more milk for the calf if you're feeding a cow, and have better rates of gain. And if they're more efficient with that feed, they're going to leave less in the bunk, less on the ground. They're going to have less manure because that is more efficient and converted to pounds of gain or beef. So I really want to challenge everybody. And here's the other thing. I'm going to tell you to plant 25 pounds, let's just say. So if I've got a $90 bag of seed, at 25 pounds, it's going to cost you $45 per acre for input cost. If you telling me that's $90 bag of seed's too expensive, I can go buy myself a $40 bag of seed. Yeah, that's great. But you're telling me you're going to plant 50 or 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 or 100 pounds. Now the dollars, your cost per acre is higher for a plant that's less efficient in gain and palatability and digestibility. So the math doesn't math on some of those discussions, but I think what really gets me going is that we'll avoid paying a little better for a better product, and we'll plant twice as much seed as we need, which is not efficient, and actually could cost you more per acre, and you get less benefit out of it at the end of the day because of fiber digestibility, palatability, feed waste, some of those kind of things. Now, I will say, if you're going to plant those high rates and you keep cutting it fairly low and it doesn't probably get past chest high ever, then it's probably going to be pretty good because you're still in such a vegetative state. But how many people let it get a little bit taller, maybe start seeing a seed head? Folks, what you don't realize is that cheap product, as soon as it gets probably past your shoulder, the fiber digestibility, the quality, the crude protein is going to drop like a rock because it's trying to go reproductive fairly quick. and it's not built to be digestible. It's going to feed like cardboard at the end of the day. If it starts putting a head on it, your efficiency's gone. So again, some of you are going to say, man, the guy's lost his mind, he's off his rocker, but I see the forage quality samples, and I talk to growers that have went from the old standard traditional stuff into a newer BMR product, a brachytic dwarf BMR, higher leaf to stem ratio, better digestibility. And when I visit with those guys and they tell me about what the bunk looks like, what the feed pad looks like, or the fact that they're feeding out on pasture and they don't have to go manage the leftover residue because the cows eat it all. There are some of those fantastic stories just trump all of this price stuff all day long. So you got about a 10 or 11 minute rant here today, but I want you to know that 25, 30 pounds, if you're doing the right things, it seems to me like that should work very, very well, because 30 pounds at 15,000 seeds per pound is 450,000 plants per acre out there, and you should be in really, really good shape. So anyway, this is Jeff Jackson, the Forage Fanatic. I hope you all have a great day. And even if you think I'm crazy, that's okay. I want you to think about some of the things that you've been doing, maybe challenge yourself, go try some different stuff, look at some higher quality products at times, see if you can't do yourself a favor, do your livestock a favor. It's all out there. There's all kinds of good stuff. Brachytics, dwarfs, BMRs, male steriles, photoperiod sensitives. There's products with sugarcane aphid tolerance today, and some of them with all of that stuff that I just mentioned in one plant. So go check it out. Have yourself a good day. Think a little deeper.